Less than 100 days till the weekend. We can rest on November the 4th. Less than 100 days until the most important election in our lifetime. The guardrails of democracy have come off under Donald Trump, and we can restore this. So I come to you with sobriety, born out of the fact that we have the most dangerous president in American history. And I'll tell you, Mark, I come to you with an unrelenting optimism because John Lewis gave us our marching orders. He said, voting is the most impactful, nonviolent activity to build a more perfect union known to humankind. And I couldn't agree more. And that's why we're organizing everywhere. Yeah, we're not knocking doors like we would in the ordinary times, but we've got our virtual clipboards out everywhere. We're organizing everywhere. And on the darkest nights, you often see the brightest stars, and so many people stepped up in big ways. And I'm excited about Joe Biden. I'm excited about the history we're going to make with our first female on the ticket. And I think Americans crave leadership that can unite us, leadership with empathy and compassion, leadership that can meet the moment. And I think Joe Biden can meet the moment. He is meeting the moment.
Now, some mutual friends that we have who look at polls, some have even said to me that within these last 100 days, there's almost no way for Trump, especially if he stays on the same course, Tom, to course correct or come back. What do you think about that? Or should we be that overconfident?
There is not an ounce of overconfidence at the Biden campaign or in the DNC. I'll be honest with you, Mark. I don't buy these polls that have them up a dozen points. This race is going to tighten. We will, in 2016, I think too many people felt complacent. In 2016, hey, I'm going to vote for Jill Stein because Hillary's going to win anyway, and I want to send a message. In 2016, we just took too much for granted. We are not doing that. You and I know, because you and I have been talking for many years, predating 2016, but especially in these last 3.5 years, we've organized early, we've organized everywhere. We've been in communities that we frankly took for granted. If you look at the profile of our workforce now, we have over 1,500 people in the field in these battlegrounds. And you go to places like Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, just to take 3 examples, because we win those 3 states, that could be game, set, and match right there. In those states and in others, our complement of organizers is actually more diverse than the population of the state. We worked really hard through a number of initiatives to recruit talented, diverse, homegrown organizers. So the majority of our organizers in Michigan are from Michigan. We worked with a number of local leaders to recruit returning citizens, to organize returning citizens. I'm a big believer in peer-to-peer organizing. We're leaving no one behind. We have dreamers working with us, because dreamers can't vote, but dreamers are on the ballot in November. And so we've done remarkable work recruiting there. And the energy's everywhere. If we didn't have this pandemic, we'd be talking about the lights out turnout in the Democratic primary. And we saw it in South Carolina. We saw it in New Hampshire. We saw it on Super Tuesday. Folks came out for Joe Biden. I hear people say there's not enthusiasm for Joe Biden. I categorically disagree with that. He outperformed Barack Obama in South Carolina. I mean, that's pretty significant. And then 3 days later on Super Tuesday, lights out turnout, and the African-American community was absolutely enormous to his success. And so we know what we have to do. As I've said many times, John Lewis has given us our marching orders. And I can think of no better tribute to the legacy of John Lewis than to make sure that we get every single eligible person out there to vote. Because when we do that, we win the White House, we win the Senate, we expand our margins in the House, we flip some state houses, and we return to a country that truly does embody liberty and justice for all. No footnotes.
Isn't it true, though, in some of the individual states where the race is tight, and we're talking about traditionally red states. Joe Biden has cut it close.
Yeah.
Even in those states where, he may or may not have a guarantee of winning, that still helps down ballot Democrats, especially those running for Senate. So that increases our chances of taking the Senate, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I have not met a candidate for the United States Senate who isn't anything but thrilled to have Joe Biden on the ticket. They all tell me, you know what? I'm running together with Joe Biden. Joe Biden and Mark Kelly, Joe Biden and Teresa Greenfield in Iowa, Mark Kelly being from Arizona, Joe Biden and John Hickenlooper, Joe Biden and Sarah Gideon in Maine, Joe Biden and Cal Cunningham in North Carolina. We've got 2 Senate races down in Georgia. And thanks to people like Stacey Abrams, who's done such great work there, I think we have a real shot there. And it's not only the Senate races. I named a few, but I didn't name all of them. I mean, my good friend and your good friend, Jamie Harrison, is running a spirited campaign in South Carolina. And I hope if folks would just Google one thing for me today, Google Jamie Harrison. Jamie Harrison is a remarkable human being. He is the American success story. And I think he can take down Lindsey Graham. But Lindsey Graham has no spine. Lindsey Graham embodies the worst of the Republican Party. We are not here to simply defeat Donald Trump in November. We must defeat Trumpism. And we defeat Trumpism by winning up and down the ballot, by flipping state houses, the House of Representatives in Texas, the House of Representatives in Arizona, the state Senate in North Carolina. We've got so many other opportunities, the House of Representatives in Michigan. And your point to this, Mark, is really, really important. In Michigan, Joe Biden won every county in the Democratic primary. He can help these down ballot candidates win because his values and their values are completely aligned. People trust Joe Biden. That's the bottom line. This is an election really about trust. Who can you trust to get a handle on the worst pandemic in 100 years? Who can you trust to get the economy out of the worst ditch since the Great Depression? Who can you trust to bring our nation together and heal this racial divide? Donald Trump has demonstrated through his utter incompetence, through his divide and conquer politics, his zero-sum politics, he is not up for the task. Who reflects your values? That's Joe Biden. And I am confident that we can do this. But again, to get back to your question from before, Mark, I'm really worried that people will get complacent. We can't allow that. We've got to sprint across the finish line. I want to win, and I'll take 271 delegates. That's fine, or electoral votes. That's fine. But you know what? We're going to sprint across this finish line because I want to win decisively so that we can really send a message across America and frankly around the world. The world is looking to us to lead again, and I think we can.
Donald Trump has finally realized he cannot hold the convention he wanted to hold. You realized that first and foremost some time ago. Give us an idea of what the convention is going to be like this year, as it will be virtual.
The convention's going to be a lot different than people are accustomed to, but it's going to be no less exciting and no less inspiring, and it will be anchored in Milwaukee. I said that, and we made that commitment early on, and we will be excited to be there. Joe Biden is looking forward to being in Milwaukee. You will see other prominent Democratic leaders in Milwaukee so that we anchor the convention. We first, when we were dealing with this pandemic, we said job one is safety. Donald Trump, job one is Donald Trump and ego gratification. It did not take us long to realize that this pandemic was going to require us to make decisions that were unfortunate without a doubt, but unavoidable as a matter of public health. And that's why we first moved the convention date. And now we've told our delegates not to come to the convention. But again, Mark, I think you're going to see a spectacular 4 nights highlighting our values as a party, talking about what we're going to fight for, contrasting the bold, inclusive, optimistic vision of Joe Biden with the scaremongering, the fear-mongering, the divisiveness of Donald Trump, and the abject failure of Donald Trump. There are people in this country who have died because of Donald Trump. You know, it took 45 days for us to go from 1 million cases of coronavirus to 2 million cases. It took 27 days to go from 2 million cases of coronavirus to 3 million cases. And it took 15 days to go from 3 million cases to the recent unfortunate milestone of 4 million cases. And all the while, Donald Trump was saying it's going to miraculously disappear. You don't need a mask. Why don't you go drink Clorox or whatever he was talking about? I mean, the incompetence of this president. He's not telling people to use masks. I bring this all up because it's relevant to the convention. You know, the way we handled the convention and the way they handled the convention is another example of the differences in leadership that just highlight Republicans and Democrats. We believe in science. We believe that our first priority is the American people. They believe that the first priority is Donald Trump's ego gratification.